every freaking season. I try and go in and I try and be mature and I try and be withdrawn, emotionally detached, and every season they get me. Hello and welcome to a review of Love is Blind season 7 episodes 1 through 9. This is not going to be an episode by episode review. I'm just going to really treat this with some bullet points here of my big takeaways from 1 through 9. Let's all agree, though, before we even get started, that this season seems to be the most ridiculous and that the Love is Blind seasons are going down with each one. And I think that's because they want to make sure the show stays on the air. So they are leaning more into drama than they are into actually finding good candidates for this experiment. Remember what I said a couple months ago? I literally said, if you get picked to be on a reality TV show, you're either going to be the straight man or the clown. And it's up to you to figure out who they want you to play. And quickly have that data collected before you walk onto a reality show. If you're not trying to walk into some straight mess. I think something else that impacted the way I looked at this season, outside of just knowing that these producers don't mean nobody no good. They are casting like this on purpose. And we're going to get into this video and I'm going to get into exactly what I mean by they're casting like this on purpose. But also, I just watched Unreal for the first time because it's on Netflix. I just watched it. And that show was so good. I don't know what channel it was originally on when it was out, but man, that show was good. And it is good for anybody who likes reality TV because, I mean, it's a little extreme, but it just shows how reality TV producers, their goal is to keep you watching. And so they're going to cast for certain reasons. They're trying to sit back and say, okay, what storylines do we have here? Who can we put together? How can we, it's all contrived. It's all set up. None of this shit is real, but not really. And if you have good connections in a situation like this, it's in spite of everything they set out to do to you. It's in spite of it, okay? Not because of it. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into my big takeaways from season 7 of Love is Blind. First big takeaway is your past when getting into a relationship absolutely matters. And the poster child for this is our boy, Tyler. I immediately, when I saw Tyler for the first time, I did not trust him because there is no way a man, a light-skinned Libra man, in the middle of the chocolate oasis that is DC, in the middle of the social oasis, the things I've heard about DC, okay? Apparently dating there is hell, but I feel like people that are having a hard time dating say that about everywhere. Like I could say that about LA, Houston. Those are the two places I've lived, really. I've never tried dating where I am now, but if you're having a hard time, yeah, it's hell. But I know people who have lived in DC before and have said, oh my God, I had a date every weekend. You know, I had this experience, that experience. I met this person. I met that person. Like, I know people that have fallen in love in LA, New York, DC, Austin, Dallas, Houston. If you're having a good time, you're having a good time. If you're not, you're not. So I don't think you can ever really take one person's word for it. And I definitely am a little suspicious of a Libra, a light-skinned Libra man, having trouble connecting with mates, with people that want to date him.
Okay, let me clarify those remarks very quickly. So the first thing I want to say is when I do my little analyzing of Love is Blind, you have to understand I'm not a professional therapist. I'm not a professional whatever. So I'm going to be looking at it through my own silly little systems. And I tend to look at things through a lens that I've adopted and I think is accurate, and that is astrology. If you think that that's ridiculous, then that's your opinion, but this is my video that I made. And I want to talk for a second about what I mean by a Libra. So think about the last time you ran into a single Libra. You probably can't think of anyone. And if you do, then whatever, this is not about them, okay? But most of the time, since Libra is the sign of partnership and companionship, what you will find with people that were born underneath that zodiac sign is they don't really struggle to attract mates. When I saw that Netflix posted the zodiac signs of the cast, I immediately was like, Tyler probably has not only a Libra sun, but a Scorpio Venus. And most people that I know with that placement are incredibly attractive to the people in the environment around them. They don't have to work at all to have a mate. And the more information that came out about Tyler, and we're going to talk about that in this video, it basically fit that stereotype to a T. I mean, my God. Also, I talked about the color of his skin. So I'm a Black American. I've been Black for 40 years. I understand that colorism works differently for men than it does for women. So for women, if you're darker skinned, sometimes you're thought of as being more masculine, you're less desirable. For men, if you're lighter skinned, you're feminine, you're not seen as being as strong. However, I also know that the physical traits and the lighter skin tone and sometimes the looser hair texture, biologically and sociologically, have worked to both sexes' advantage historically, right? So if I'm a darker skinned woman and I come from a colorist family and I bring home a lighter skinned man, hey, people might start to get excited. Oh, well, maybe your babies might be lighter skinned and have some of that good hair, quote unquote, right? Also, I have experienced that lighter skinned people tend to be able to attract people from different races more often because of their approximation to whiteness. I have, like I said, been a Black woman for 40 years. I exist in a darker skinned body. And so I know the preference that he can bring to the table, or I know that there is a preference for men that look like him. And then of course, if I go back to my zodiac knowledge, he's a Libra, okay? They have more than their fair share. It's like if you're born a Libra in this life, part of your life experience is going to be that you attract partners. They ain't never single. And if you are a single Libra, my heart goes out to you, bro, because it's just not your natural way of existing. But yeah, that's what I meant by that. Of course, none of this is meant to be taken in any way professional or whatever. These are my silly little opinions, and I just wanted to clarify why I would say something like that, because I understand if you might think it's kind of crazy if you don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's move on.
When I see a pretty man, forget his complexion, forget his zodiac sign. When I see a pretty man and he's talking about, I have trouble. No, you don't. You are trouble. No, you don't. It is biologically and sociologically so unlikely that you're having a hard time. You are the hard time. You're the reason why. You. And I'm not like that. I'm not that person, y'all. I'm not the you're the problem type of person. But sometimes, especially if you're in a situation where I know you're in demand. Hello? He is supposedly college educated. Maybe. I think so. I don't know. The jobs he has, it seems like he is. He got a job, which you all know is tough for me to find. A man with a job. He got a job. He's cute. He's so cute. Now, I don't like the way Tyler dresses. Why are his clothes so tight? Don't like that. But that's something you can look over. Cute little small. He's cute. Look, I know I'd be, okay. All right. I knew something was up when I synced him. Okay. I said, this isn't right. He shouldn't be on the show. What's going on? One thing Netflix has got to do is they have got to start taking social media seriously. And I think they figured that out. I think they are casting people that they know Reddit is going to have a field day with, that they know TikTok is going to tear apart. They are casting clowns on purpose. And that's what they did with Tyler. The second he came on, I said, something is wrong. He should not be here. He doesn't need a dating show. Something is wrong. And I was right. Through TikTok, I found out, and then it was just public knowledge that Tyler is he's a serial dater. He's a serial get into a relationshiper. He is a father of not one, not two, but 3 children, that he may have acted as a sperm donor for a couple, or he may have actually slept with their mother in order to bring them to this earth. He is a person who owes a lot of women a lot of money because women just give him money. Hey, teach a class, okay? I'm sure there's a lot of men out there who would love to. How can I? And again, that's why I say he don't need no dating show. Not him. He don't need to. And he just had a lot. He had a lot going on. And there are some people who would say, well, should your past matter? Like, we all deserve a clean slate. At a certain point, you've been through, so you take everything you've been through with you. Your past absolutely matters. It matters in what you ask from your next partner. It matters in how seriously you take certain things. And we're going to get to that in a second with Stephen. Jesus. It matters in what kind of relationship your partner is going to be stepping into with you? What do you have waiting for them? What fresh hell do you have waiting for them? And I think that's what we found with Tyler and Ashley, right? Tyler started talking from the beginning. I want to be married. I want to do this. I want family traditions. They got engaged. What kind of traditions we going to have? When can we start having kids? Let's start doing it right away. Let's start. Whole time. Ashley's just not going to be the parent of the 2 children she wants with Tyler. Ashley's now going to be a stepmother of 3 children. Now, Tyler did say on the show he's just a sperm donor, but then his baby mama came out and said, what are these pictures from Christmas about? What are these videos about of you giving the kids their Christmas gifts? What about these pictures of your own daddy duty? What about that? So now all these babies that we made, however way we made them, now all of a sudden you're just their sperm donor? Hello? Very messy situation, very messy. And I don't know. We don't know yet whether or not he married Ashley. I hope she didn't marry him, because that's a lot. That's a lot. Ooh, and whenever he was sitting up there talking to her and he was like, I want to have a family and do traditions. And last year on Christmas, I was by myself cooking alone. In what world is a man that looks like that cooking alone? In what world? He is the type of man that women, and I know it to be so, without putting people I know on blast, without putting myself on blast. He is the type of man that folks be fighting down. Can I bring you a plate? Do you have anything to eat today? Well, where are you spending? When they talk about pretty privilege, y'all, it's not just for women. It's for men too. Okay. Men can finesse just as much as women can. All right. I didn't trust him for nothing. So when they said, actually, this is what he's hiding, I said, that's about right. And he's on this show because he's a clown that got caught. Yes. Your past absolutely matters. Absolutely. The next big takeaway from the show is I don't think people in general know how attractive they are. We tend to rate ourselves way low or way high. And we saw this with Hannah and Nick. Okay. Hannah from the beginning was like, I am the hot cheerleader, dated the quarterback, everything like that. And I think all of us were looking at her like, now here's the thing. She looks fine. In fact, as someone who was a cheerleader, didn't date a quarterback, but as someone who was a cheerleader and who was constantly told in high school, you don't look like a cheerleader. I remember one time I was, we were having a pizza party for the cheerleaders and we got called down to the cafeteria. Oh, no, we didn't. Cheer was our last class of the day. Yeah. So we had our PE class at the end of the day and it was cheer. Okay. So we were all in the cafeteria. We're getting our pizza. And one of the cheer sponsors was also, had one point been a softball coach or something. I don't remember, but I'm getting pizza and she comes up to me and she goes, this isn't for softball players. And I said, okay. So I go back to getting pizza and she goes, did you not hear me? This is not for softball players. And I was like, what that got to do with me? Oh, okay, I'll tell. If I see one, I'll tell him. So I go back to the pizza. She says, excuse me. And I finally was like, what? And I don't know if hearing my voice, I don't know what happened, but she like snapped out of it and she goes, oh, Stephanie, you're a cheerleader. That's right. Oh, eat up, girl. I was always told that you don't look the part. You don't look like a cheerleader. That's not you, because people have this idea of what cheerleaders look like. They've got to be hot. They're the hottest girls in school. They're so pretty. Listen, I was a cheerleader in Texas. Okay. So we needed, all girls stunt in college, whatever. We need some girls that got some meat on them. I was cheering with girls of all shapes, sizes, all kinds of fit, but there is an idea of what a cheerleader looks like. And if I was describing myself to somebody, I would never say, oh yeah, I was a cheerleader in high school, because he's probably going to think of something that I'm not, right? And I think that was the thing with Hannah. She was really pitching herself as something that she was not. A lot of men only want me for how hot I am. Okay, maybe that's true. I don't know. But it definitely sounded like, I think she definitely sold herself as something that maybe as an audience, we weren't on board. Now, I will say since the show, she's had a glow up of sorts. And I will also say I really liked her lip color when she was on the show. She had this like really beautiful red. Somebody else who sold themselves as somebody they weren't and who actually did a worse job than she did was Nick. Nick. And I remember a lot of the girls were like, oh my God, like he just had BDE. He was da 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 da. And we're looking at him the whole time as an audience and we're like, okay, dude, you do not look better than Travis Kelce, which is something he said. And also, you do not look like Henry Cavill, which is also something he said, right? But I don't think we know. I think based on how we have been received by others, if it's good, we rank ourselves higher. If it's bad, we'll rank ourselves lower. And the actual objective level of our attractiveness is just based on the audience that is perceiving us at that time. And so once again, your past matters. If you've been perceived as attractive, you're going to say, well, you know, I'm pretty hot. And the people that are looking at you at that time might not agree. I think when they saw each other, though, it was one of the most underwhelming reveals. I felt really bad for Nick when he turned around and looked back. And Hannah just like had kept walking and like she took the ring and just kind of and like kept walking. I felt bad for him in that moment. I felt bad for him, period, with her, but I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, but I don't think people tend to know how attractive they are. I think Brittany was pretty much, when she was talking to Leo, she was like, I can seduce men with my eyes. I know I'm a trophy wife, this, and this. I think Brittany, she knows how attractive she is. But once again, it comes from past experience, right? Like she knows she's been treated as a trophy wife. She's been taken care of 100%. So she knows like what she's capable of doing. I thought her reveal with Leo was really disgusting. I felt bad for her in that moment. And I'm happy that they decided to go ahead and break things off. She's one of my favorites. And also him. I think because they got out of the experiment early, we didn't watch them struggle through a relationship. And now we can kind of just see them for the quirky little personalities they are. And she seems really sweet as well. I like them. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think people know in general how attractive they are. Another big takeaway from this season is that women can be bullies too. I think a lot of the time when we consider abuse, when we consider negative emotional interactions, when we consider somebody being just like really heavy-handed emotionally towards someone else, we really only take it seriously if it's a man doing it to a woman. But I mean, Hannah, I think Hannah is a bully. I also think Alex is a bully. Hannah, she talks so crazy to him and talks so crazy to people in general that whenever he met her family, he met her brother, he was like, yo, she be talking crazy. And the brother was like, yeah, and she can dish it out and she can't take it. I'm so sorry. I personally, those are my least favorite kinds of people. I think I've said that before. I do not like people who are very direct and tell you what they think of you and what is wrong with you and what blah, 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 blah. Those are my least favorite kind of people because they do tend to be super sensitive. If you, I'm just because I didn't say it doesn't mean I'm not clocking it. I see your stuff too. Okay. But I'm not saying it because I'm just trying to keep the vibes going. Right. But I think in this case with Hannah and Nick, there is so much that he doesn't bring to the table that she really just, her critic and her like whatever can just run free. The fact that this man doesn't know how to boil pasta, he doesn't know, he's never done his laundry. Like he's just, I was not expecting her to go to his house and his house be with his parents. I was not expecting that at all. And I think it's a real disservice to her as a person who has had to be so financially and just independent. She says she left home at 18. She's 26. So she's been completely independent for the last 8 years and he's never known that. I don't think that's healthy for a relationship in general. And especially it's not healthy when you're in that kind of relationship dynamic with somebody who's a meanie. She's a meanie. Signed, sealed, delivered. Her family even said it. I do not think they need to get married and I hope that they don't because she is a bully. I also think Alex is a bully towards Tim. I think Tim wants to have close female companionship so badly because he lost his sisters. Trauma dumping, the T in his name should stand for trauma dump instead of for Timothy. He gives Alex his dead sister's bracelets. His intense need for those relationships to be returned to him he might need to look at that before he signs on to whatever, because the way she treats him makes me super uncomfortable. And this season, they're not showing us the dirty fights like what happened with Chelsea and Jimmy. Somebody said they're not doing it because they keep getting sued or something like that. I don't know if Chelsea and Jimmy ever wanted to sue them, but we all remember like the nasty fights Chelsea and Jimmy used to have back in the last season, right? The way that they would be ripped apart, ripping each other apart on camera. Like, we all remember that. And this season, we're not seeing anything. They're coming in, afterwards. They're like, yo, the fight was so bad that I considered not being here. I considered walking away. It doesn't surprise me. Alex has a very halting and kind of terse energy with him that I don't think is healthy. I don't think that their dynamic is healthy. I don't think they should be married. I think he so badly wants his family repaired. He says things like, she reminds me of the daughters my parents lost, and hopefully soon she is one of my parents' daughters. Like, he's just he's trying to replace the family that he lost, which makes him super susceptible to her. And I think she's a spoiled brat and a bully. Not really a fan of hers. I think that this season is a great reminder that kinks are real. Kinks are very, very real. The kink world, the fetish world is very real. I mentioned earlier that I was going to go back to Steven. First of all, you could definitely look at him and see that he was not 100% white or Italian or whatever. I mean, you could just look at the hair. In another world, Steven is running around from there's a guy who looks like that in a Creole family who's saying, hey, I'm black. I got 2 black parents, right? A lot of times with black people in general, we tend to just say, hey, welcome to the group. They could be 5% black. Both parents have 2.5% black in them, but hey, I got 2 black parents, whatever. We know how it works. Whatever people align themselves with, they are going to fight to the death to be called that. And so when Steven was saying, yeah, I thought I was Italian, I was like, yo, I've seen a guy who looks like you who claims he's 100% black before in my life. So I knew something was going on. And that's going to go ahead and be the end of things that I liked about Steven. From the beginning, and this kind of goes to my girls are bullies too thing, Monica was very short with him and very kind of mean to him. And I felt badly for him initially, but I don't feel badly anymore after what ended up happening. I was feeling very uneasy when they were having their conversation about sex and like how he's a dude, and if the wind blows the wrong way, he's like, oh my God. I was like, okay. Then when he started talking about how he does butt stabs, and she's like, I'm saving my butt for my husband, I was like, oh. It was just reminding me of men that I have encountered and the things they've tried to get away with and the things that they've talked about. And then I've done a little digging and found out, oh, you's a freak. Let me go head on and get up out of here, because that's not what time I'm on. Not to kink shame. And I felt so bad for her when she had to like defend herself recently and come out and say, I'm not a kink shamer. But yo, when somebody's not honest about the part that's part of who they are and they try and spring that on you, it can be very traumatizing. Of course, I have a story, right? So a couple years ago, and I mean like almost 20 years ago, because I was on MySpace when this happened. I was on MySpace and a man sent me a follow request and he started sending me some messages. And, at this point in time, this was before Instagram. This was before things going down in the DMs. But I did know that people would get reached out to on Facebook sometimes. So I knew that it was possible for somebody to try and flirt with you or whatever on MySpace. So I was a little flattered. I looked at him. He was a white man with red hair. And I was like, okay, I've been down this road before, whatever. I click over to his profile and I see that he's married and he's adopted a black daughter. And I'm like, what is this? And the black daughter they had was like a toddler. And I'm like, what are you doing, guy? What's going on? So he's like, I just wanted to talk to you. You just seem really beautiful. And I just, whatever. And I'm like, well, it seems like you got something going on. So no, thank you. I'm not interested. And he's like, well, if you ever want to chat, some kind of way, he sent me a link or he did something. And I was like, no, I'm good. And I ended up clicking on something and it brought me to a page where it was nothing but vaginas. And I said, yo, I clicked on, whatever. You weren't supposed to click that. Why were you over there? Why are you talking to me? What do you want? Get away from me. And that's not the only time that's happened. I had another man a couple years ago who he was on Twitter. He was like, I'm a nudist and, I just think you're so funny and so sexy and so this. And I'm like, yo. And he would comment on every tweet I had. And when I had Twitter, I didn't have a lot of followers. Okay. I was almost at 1,000 when I deleted my Twitter. But he would comment on every single tweet that I had. He would, and he was like, oh, I just want people to accept me. I'm a teacher during the day, but in my free time, I'm a nudist. And I just want, and when I actually talked to him one day, he was like, I reach out to women because my wife, let me tell you something. Don't spring it on people. With a guy like Steven, it frustrates me because he knew what he wanted and what he was into before he got on that show. He always planned on cheating on her and, being with her and then getting his jollies off, whatever. And they would have divorced very quickly. They did not look good together. They were actually horrifying together as a couple. They did not look good. They did not compliment each other. And I'm happy almost that broke apart. I just hate that it was so embarrassing for her. And once again, there was a fight. There was something that happened. And we didn't really get to see it for real. But kinks are real, man. Just be honest about what you like. Be honest about what you require. Because once that's what you like, it's what you require. It's what you need. And pick a partner that's down with that. Don't try and cover it up. A lot of people feel like they have to be conventional with one person, but then get their kinks out with another person. Try and make that the same person if you can, just to keep people from getting their feelings hurt. I don't know. Something else I noticed about this season is that it is a great look for really strong women. I'm going to go back to Hannah for a moment. Maybe I was a bit hard on my good sis when it came to pitching herself as the cheerleader who, again, that may have been the life she led, but I don't think it's the picture I don't think she fits the picture that people would think of when they picture that, even if that is her reality. However, when it came to finances, you can't touch the girl. I personally was inspired. I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's another reason why I hope she doesn't end up with Nick, because I think she talks crazy to him because she tends to stomp on people. And she even admitted it, that she thinks she's better than, that she thinks she knows more than. And he doesn't know anything when it comes to money. And it was so embarrassing when she was like, yeah, so what do you know about stocks and have you invested? And he goes, what do you know about sports? Now that's now like I know that it ain't gonna make no difference if she knows how many points a touchdown gets if y'all don't have money to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really like that about her. I think her strong financial sense and strong independence is actually a great look, and it's a plus. I don't think she needs to be with him because he does not match her. And what's crazy is, and she even says it, roles are reversed here, because normally the man would be the one that was like, okay, let me see the pocketbook, like, what did we spend, what's going on? She's like, I'm having to do that. I'm having to be the leader here. And I think for her, she would probably appreciate being in a situation where she didn't have to be so independent. She didn't have to push so much. Hannah is the perfect example of, if you show me I can be soft, I'll be soft, right? But if you make me have to get in there and hustle with you, I'm a hustle. I'm a tussle. Excuse me, I'm a tussle. Another strong woman is my girl Monica. So after she breaks up with her Nigerian king Steven, she says, by the way, since I've been supporting you these past few days, go ahead and Venmo me before you leave and let me see your phone. Let me watch you send me the Venmo. I thought that was amazing. It made me feel so good in my spirit. Another strong woman is Taylor. Taylor's actually my favorite. She's actually my favorite across the board. I love her and Garrett, and I hope they're the only couple that gets married. Taylor and Garrett. That's it. That's all I will tolerate. She's also a strong woman. I thought she handled Garrett's family really, really well. And I thought she handled Garrett really well. She was one of the only girls who didn't immediately start sleeping with her partner, which, yeah, I don't care, but I do think it says something to her and like what she needs, that she was still keeping him kind of at a distance. His family, when his family's having a hard time accepting her, the way that she kind of addresses that with him and the things that she said when she was meeting his family, I was like, I really like her. So I really like Taylor a lot. I love that she was there for Monica whenever Monica was having a hard time. And I love that Taylor's a Pisces. Finally, we get some good representation up in here, okay? Because we do not be getting no good representation. And I love that blue that she be pulling out when she told him, "I'll be in blue when you propose." I was like, yes! It's one of my favorite colors. I love that color blue. So I love a lot of her style choices. I love Taylor. Very strong woman. Another very strong woman. I know y'all want me to say Marissa, but I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna say her mama. Now, a lot of people didn't like Marissa's mom. A lot of people did not like her energy. They were like, she was rude. She was projecting on Ramses. Marissa's mother said, and did not stutter, "I raised 4 children by myself. Every man I ever loved let me down. I do not want to see that happen to my daughter. I'm coming to you for real, for real. We ain't got to cut the cameras." I was like, respect. I like it. Because Ramses showed up with his 17 dreads. I don't understand the hair. I am very attracted to him. I don't want to talk about it, but I don't understand. He showed up with that hair and without concrete answers. And for me, it's the same thing with Hannah. Like, if you put me in a position where I have to be tough, I'll be tough. You want to tussle, we can tussle. But if you show that you have incentive and you understand what it takes to provide, then I'll calm down. I'll soften up. Can you imagine if Ramses was like, "Actually, I am a civic engineer for the city of DC, and I got my bachelor's and then my master's. I have been working for," if he had some answers for this woman who struggled, if he had some good news for her, can you imagine? Now, I will say that she definitely projected a lot of her own pain onto the situation. And that happens when you have somebody who's been through it. So I just wish, honestly, he had better answers for her. And I wish he was a better match for her daughter. I don't think that he is. I do not think Ramses is a good match for Marissa. I don't. This season is big for strong women. Notice I did not say Alex, who I think is a bully. I did not say Ashley, who I think is going to marry Tyler anyway, despite his lies and deceit and tomfoolery. And I didn't say Marissa because I think Marissa, I have not seen that from her. I've seen a lot of almost like childlike energy from her. But these 3 women that I definitely highlighted, I love that they know their role. They are very honest about who they are and what they've done so far in their lives. And I did not hate Marissa's mom. I was like, I get it, queen. You said 4 kids. You said you were working and nursing school. You said she doesn't suffer. She wants to see all of her babies do better than she did. I don't think that that's wrong. And she's asking the real questions. And I think that that is important. I think that's important. And I think that those are actually the questions that maybe Marissa might be afraid to ask because she doesn't want to come off scary. So it's good to have mom who's not scared. She ain't never scared. Now, I could never be friends with somebody like Marissa's mom. I'd be scared for my life. But I like having somebody like that in your corner. Not a bad thing, in my opinion. In my opinion, you can disagree all day, but that's my opinion. I want to talk a little bit about birth control. Speaking of Marissa and Ramses. So a couple of months ago, in the last season of Love is Blind, we had the issue of the redheaded boy, Jimmy Johnny, and Amy, and they had the birth control conversation. I think with Amy, it was religious. Some people said that she had like an illness. Whatever her reason was, she wasn't comfortable with birth control. And Jimmy Johnny had a similar reaction to the issue that Ramses did, which was, so what are we supposed to do? We got to use condoms all the time? I felt like it was unfair to ask your partner to be in a committed situation with you, knowing that you require certain things in order to be intimate that might take away from their pleasure. I feel like it's unfair either way, right? I think my audience is majority female. And what I have noticed anytime this issue comes up is that women come out and they are very pro condom, even in committed partnerships. They are very anti birth control. And it's usually, if you look at these conversations when they come up, they are pro the man having to get a vasectomy over the woman having to do anything for her body. I don't know, though, that those desires are an accurate representation of what happens in the real world, or whether they are just evidence of women coming together to defend a woman's right to her bodily autonomy and to demand that a man consider her needs over his own before the sex act is completed or commenced upon, whatever. Basically what I'm saying is, I don't know if I got a bunch of people fronting in my comments about loving condom sex when they're already in a relationship and making their man get a vasectomy so they don't have to get birth control, or if that's really the way people live. I don't know. Anyway, so the birth control thing was an interesting conversation to me, and I said, I can't believe we're still doing this. I can't believe this is still coming up. That's something that needs to be talked about in the pods. How do you feel about birth control? How many kids do you have? These things need to come up in the pods. What are your kinks? Do you have kinks? Let's talk about it. A lot of this stuff, a lot of the things that these people have gone through, if they had brought it up in the pods or taken it seriously in the pods, then when they got out in the real world, we wouldn't have no problems. But I think people are trying so hard to win. They are trying so hard to make it to the wedding, to get the most out of it, to become social media superstars and influencers. And that means they lie, they try and push past red flags, you know. I mean, it's a lot. I want to say something else before I close out. I do agree with Marissa on this. I think this is important. So she makes her decision about who she wants to be with based on their sun, moon, and rising. And she's so cute. She's like, of course I didn't just do it for that. Of course. Girl. The Astro Girlies will know that if you run into somebody and he's got that right combo, you know, he's a little bit interesting. I was thinking about what it might be for someone like me who's kind of evenly spread across all of the modalities. And I would hate, what is he? Cancer, Leo? Woo! I don't like that. There's a lot of fire, a lot of water. Like, go ahead and get out of here with all that. But if he was Cancer, Virgo, Leo, Cancer, Taurus, Leo, I don't know. But I thought it was cute that she knew that. Anyway, those are my takeaways. Hannah is a bully, but she knows how to manage her money. Alex is a bully. End of story. Tim is a trauma dumping crybaby. Tyler is a baby daddy from hell who's too cute to be on the show. So it makes sense that he has all the baggage he has. Ashley, don't marry him. Taylor and Garrett, I'm rooting for her, but it looks like in episode 10 something goes down, so I'm not sure. Monica, girl, you dodged a kinky bullet. I've run into quite a few of them in my lifetime. You dodged a bullet. And Marissa and Ramses, you had your fun sex. You had your experience together. Let that man go. Let that man and his rat tails go. Go to law school. Make your mama proud. Have a baby when you are ready, because we know you're ready. Have a baby when you're ready and you're financially stable. So your mama doesn't have a straight up heart attack if something happens to your money, because she is praying for you, girl, to pull through. And that is my take on all of these episodes so far. Oh, Nick, no comment. Nick needs to go take a home ec class. He don't need to be on a dating show. That is all for now. I'm going to be excited to watch the new episode on Wednesday. And as always, thank you for watching.